I've got a Cervelo Aspero-5 with the Campy Ekar 13-speed 1x mechanical group set. If you've watched some other videos, you've heard me talk about the Campy Ekar group set already. It's actually pretty much all stock except for the tires. It's a fast feeling gravel bike, and it is a fast bike. Cervelo is not apologetic about it. It's a race bike. We could argue what a good race gravel bike is nowadays with tire clearance and that type of thing, and how much tire clearance you want. But out of all the gravel bikes I've ridden, the one that feels most closely to a sporty road bike would be this one. It's got 42 millimeters of tire clearance. It really is a fun bike to ride. When you get on this bike, you want to ride it fast. I actually probably have more pavement miles on it than I do gravel, or maybe it's kind of a 50-50 thing. Anyway, this has the 9 to 42 tooth Ekar cassette on it, and it came with a 38 tooth chainring. With this group set around here, it probably could run a 42 or 44. I've run the 40 tooth with the 9 to 42 tooth cassette, and you could use more, but there's so much range in this cassette that the 38 is fine. I can do over 30 miles an hour with it, and you can climb anything around here with it. The gear spacing on this is fantastic. It's the first 5 or the first 6 gears are 1/2 spacing, and then you go to bigger jumps at the slow end of the cassette, so it works out fantastic. After riding this, I've often thought that I could just build a straight up pure road bike running this group set that has all the gear range, and it's just simple. Get rid of the front derailleur altogether. It's got the Ekar carbon crank on it. The downside of that crank is if you're going to do power, you're pretty much stuck to pedals for your option. I do like the pedals personally though, because I can move them from bike to bike, but for you, maybe that's not as big of a deal. I rotate through bikes because I have in the shop demoing bikes, turning bikes over. So it is kind of nice to have a set of power meter pedals that I can just move on to the next one. Power meter pedals can be more expensive. The hoods on the Ekar stuff, the ergos are a little different on it than what you're used to. As far as the shifting, I really like it. Some of the reviews I've read out there, the complaints they've made, in my opinion, they didn't set the shifting up right and they didn't set the bike up correctly. The upshifts on this thing are awesome. And then when you go to downshift on it, if you've been riding a SRAM or a Shimano, the first handful of rides, because the lever throw is a little different. Once you realize that's what you're doing, it's pretty dialed. The barrel adjuster on it is infinitely adjustable, so you can very, very much dial it in. I've had this bike, actually it wasn't this one, different bike with a campy drive, a gravel race that got pretty muddy. It was fine, so no different than any other drivetrain. Shifting was good. I love the brakes on it. I mentioned this on the Bianchi video. The downs, if you get caught in wet gravel, I feel like somehow it sticks in the calipers more so than other bikes I've been. Outside of that, I love the brakes. I love the feel of the brake levers when you're in the drops. Have been on multiple 40+ miles an hour on gravel descents in the drops on it. Very, very comfortable. It has the bottle cage mount on the bottom of the down tube. You can fit 3 bottles. I've run this pack on it in here, and I can fit a small water bottle in this. So I've been out on rides, 4 bottles, been plenty. You know, if you use this one down there, you swap the lid before you drink out of it. It's a super fun bike. If I don't know exactly where I'm going, I'm going to go out for a ride, maybe ride a lot of pavement, and maybe the whole ride is going to be pavement. I don't know where I might want to end up. Maybe I'm going to cut across some gravel roads. I just want to have some options in my ride. This bike works fantastic for that. I have 36 millimeters Challenge Strada Biancas on it. I really like those tires for that option. They're pretty fast on pavement, and then they'll get down any of the gravel roads around here just fine if I want to cut across something. The top tube bag comes with it. I like the Cervelo top tube bag. It's kind of nice and small. They use a plastic plate on the inside of it, so if you put stuff in there, it rattles. If you have one of these, cut a little piece of cardboard that underlays in the bottom. You could do a piece of foam or something, and it fixes that. Anyway, it has a stock Fulcrum wheels. Pretty good. Nothing to write home about, but they work just fine. I've left them on there. Not a big deal. Haven't had any issues with them. They seem to roll pretty fast. Hub's pretty quiet. I really like this bike. Been a super fun bike to ride. Anyway, thanks for tuning in.